it didn't matter what I did. Every step I fell. I fell probably that day 100 times. I fell standing up without taking a step. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I just keep falling. And the guys are laughing. And so I'm like, I'm going back to the truck. And I'm walking up the hill, and somebody hollers at me, and I turn.
Welcome to Guys Fishing Weekly. We don't just fish, we hook.
What's up, buddy?
Yeah. Look who we got, Rob.
We got Rob
Joe with us.
Robbie and Joe.
Nice. Kicking
Hi,
it. Come.
Yeah.
Kicking it live, dude.
Kicking it live.
Coming to you from the Trout Lodge up in Nathrop, Colorado. Nathrop, Colorado.
Just south of Buena Vista. It's been a great trip here so
Yep.
far.
Yeah, these accommodations have been fantastic here. Trout Lodge. Beds for all four of us. Got our own room.
Four
Just
and more.
awesome. Yeah.
We could have had more. We could have had all 6 of us here.
I think it sleeps 8.
Yeah, sleeps 8. Fantastic, fully stocked kitchen, great place. The location's fantastic. We were 10 minutes, 15 minutes to the Arkansas River on the river fishing. So it's great access to mountain biking, all kinds of stuff. Chalk Creek is right out on the road here. You can drive up 5-10 minutes to Mount Princeton Hot Springs and then fish Chalk Creek all the way up. There's lakes up there all the way up to St. Elmo and beyond. So fantastic location right here in the valley. Just awesome. And wake up to the views of Mount Princeton. Unreal views up here. Yeah. So
Close to Salida.
Yep.
Which is an awesome little fun, funky town, particularly in the summertime. A lot of street festivals. Just a great place to hang out.
Yep.
I love Salida. One of my favorite little towns.
Yep.
Close to rafting. Those people who like rafting too, obviously,
Adventure.
on the Arkansas. So
Yeah.
there's a lot to do out here in this part of the world.
It's fantastic. Yeah. So the Trout Lodge has been phenomenal for us here.
Why'd we come up?
Check them out.
We came up to fish.
In the snow and the rain.
Fish and hang out.
Accommodations great, fishing.
Yeah.
It was a little rough for us.
First couple of days were great.
Yeah. Weather's a big factor.
Absolutely. Well, and then they released water, which flows went up. Yeah. Water got off color. So
Yeah.
Sometimes your luck isn't great.
that's right.
Free debris floating in the river. No charge.
Right. Yeah. We caught our fair share of stick fish.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Fun day.
Leaf fish.
Yesterday was rough.
Yeah. Well, that's when you rely on each other. And
Yeah.
good conversations.
When
and-
you come
and
back.
Quality time together. And it's been phenomenal. So it's good stuff.
Little mini GFW.
Yeah. Just the four of us.
Had some last minute bailouts. Not going to call him out, but Tom really dropped the ball on it.
He did that time.
Correct.
Don't want to say any names, Tom.
Don't
Yeah.
wanna say-
We were not. Yeah, that would not be cool to call out.
Sawyer.
Tom. So let's don't call
Let's
out Tom.
not do that.
We don't want to single anybody out. Tom.
Tom.
Yeah.
Well, and Dan too.
Yeah.
Dan.
Dale.
Yeah.
But Dan bailed.
But Dan
before.
bailed well before.
Yeah.
We
And
knew.
Sawyer. Sawyer too.
Yeah.
Last minute
Sawyer.
bail.
Yeah.
Sawyer.
Bernie.
Turkey.
Yeah.
Take.
We won't call anybody out.
But there are plenty of beds if you did have that many guys.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great place.
Yeah. No, I'd give it 5 stars of all the places we've stayed.
Yeah, these accommodations are
Yeah.
fantastic.
We had some
Super clean place.
clean, good for kids, just stuff to do.
High quality
Grill outside.
amenities. It feels really nice.
I liked it a lot.
We're not stacked on neighbors, so we could be as loud as we want to.
Yep.
Not bother anybody.
Yep.
Not that we were.
No. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, if you wanted to. Yeah. This is just us getting together going fishing.
Right.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I'd like to do 8 guys fishing weekends a year.
So, Joe, you're president, right?
Of course.
You're president. So, what is...
Of course.
What?
Says the vice president.
So, yeah. So there's some debate.
No, he's waiting
So-
for an impeachment. Yeah, we get it.
So, how do you get kicked out of a fraternity like this? Because I hear that might be one of the criterion. I think most of us have missed, except for Reed.
I believe you're right. I believe
I
Reed is
think
the
you're the
only
only
I,
one.
I believe Reed is the only one with perfect attendance.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
is that one of the
ultimate
criteria for president?
So when let's say someone in Reed's family has a brain tumor, he'll be here fishing. That's fine. That's fine. Everyone has their priorities.
There's not much I can do.
Yeah, exactly. I remember having that discussion with you too. It's not so much getting kicked out of guys fishing again. I think that would be an unfair term. The point is that when you're invited. Sometimes we do have more space. Sometimes we do have more open water. Sometimes there are a lot of reasons why we tried at one point in time to make it larger, to have, I was thinking 12 guys, 15 guys.
I think one year when we were in Vail, we had 10.
10. And so 10 gets harder on Gore Creek, or even on the Eagle sometimes when it's crowded. 10's harder to find beds. And as you get older, everybody, you want everyone to have comfortable accommodations. You don't want them to have to suffer. Again, the lodge experience. You want them to have a good place. And it's easier to cook for a smaller number of people. It's easier to play cards with a smaller number of people. It's easier to put together the provisions for a smaller number of people. So we kind of got to a number that worked.
What's that number?
Well, 6 works well.
Okay.
But that's why I say it doesn't mean that there aren't people who've gone on guys fishing weekend who have moved, like Ed moved out. And if he said, hey, I can't come to guys fishing weekend this year for whatever reason, he'd still be invited next year, right? So there are people who have come on guys fishing weekend who are definitely part of the group, and if they want to come back, they could come back. It's not a hard and fast number. We'll figure it out. We always will figure it out. For friends, you do what you do, right? But 6 is a good number to say, that's kind of our base number. 6 works well.
Give or take one guy.
Yeah, it works well.
I agree.
That
took a lot of time to figure that out, too.
Yeah, it did.
Through the years, it took a lot of trial and error to figure
like
that
4,
out.
shitty for cards.
Right.
It is. I mean, it's just not as much fun for poker.
Right. Yep.
For example.
And if you have 8, somebody's got to sit out.
Exactly.
7's like the max you can do without having to put 2 decks of cards together, which screws everything. So you rotate. We've done that before, where somebody sits out and rotate a hand. If you're sitting out on 357, though, that's rough.
That's like
you're
a
sitting
half
out for a
bottle.
Yeah, you're sitting
all
out.
kind of oxides come out after that one.
Exactly. And to be honest, this is the board of directors' couch.
Yes.
And I don't think it is.
Apparently you do.
For this podcast, but no, we're equals.
Yeah.
Always have been.
We joke about that stuff,
Yeah.
but no, we're happy to pass this.
But they're cool with holding the rest of the crew down. We're not on the board of directors. You're on that.
We're all a team.
Yeah,
But
we're all a team.
These are the couches.
We're
Am I on the couch?
We're all a team, but you work for us.
I just got to check. Am I on the couch? Are you sitting on the couch?
You're on the couch.
You're on the wrong couch.
You're not.
They're on the board of directors' love seat.
We're the advisory. We're the advisory panel.
I don't know why we have to separate one another. You guys are all part of it.
Right.
Until we need to make a decision.
Right.
We know how it goes.
Loss if you guys weren't here.
So,
But this couch is only big enough for 2. So yeah, go ahead. What were you saying?
I'm just curious for my couch is really comfy.
It is.
You make the big decisions. You guys shop. By the way, great job. Good
Thank
food
you.
always.
Thank you.
So how do you, for people listening, how do you figure out where you're going? How do you decide destination?
Well, truthfully, in that regard, I rely more on Reed. I mean, he kind of narrows it down to, at first, to places we'd never been.
That was one factor.
And obviously, when we started, there were a lot of places that I'd never fished, so it was fair game for anywhere. But initially, it was, where have we not gone? We could go, and that was the big deal. And then he spent a lot of time, and then with others, narrowing that down to where we could go on a particular day on the weekend, so that we weren't fishing the same stretch every day. We were going on maybe a big river one day, on a creek another day. Obviously, we had boat day where we could go out and get boats. How that could all work. I really relied on him to do that initially. Now we've started to fish most of the waters and some of the waters multiple times.
Yeah.
So
we've definitely had repeat trips where we've gone back to spots. But even when we do that, if we go back to like the same town or whatever in Colorado, I always try to find us places that maybe we didn't fish before and find different creeks and things like that. So that's a good, I think that's it. What's the variation of fishing we can do so we're not doing the same thing for 4 days or 3 days? Well, 4 days, 3.5. It keeps growing.
With that combination of, say, 6 guys, do you find that it's difficult to meet the needs of everyone? Like some people like to have a boat day? Some people like to have a small stream, big stream. How do you work all that out in a 3-day trip?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that I think that if there's enough variation, everybody can get a taste of what they want. And that's cool. Do you know what I mean? Like last year we went, we were up in North Park and we fished, some lakes, and Dan was able to do some lake fishing. He caught more fish than any of us because, he busted out a spin rod and was going flying a bubble. And so that was really, that was great for him, because he's not necessarily, as good as we are. He just he hasn't fished rivers as much as we have. You know what I mean? So that was really cool for him. So I think that's great. Joe loves going, and I do too, going on boat days. Like it's fun to go kick around in a belly boat or rent a pontoon boat for half a day. And we've had some really fun times doing boats like that. So
tossing on some beers.
I think, and I think that's the thing. Like everybody's that we bring with, and again, that's where the variables of people you choose to come with need to be open to doing different stuff, and that's kind of the coolness of what we created. And so those things go into it. And that's, I think for me, fishing, finding places that have different variations of the kind of stuff we can fish, like in June when we're going up to Grand Mesa. And so it's going to be a lot of still water because June, the rivers are going to be pumped. But it's like we have opportunities to catch cold water fish, warm water fish. Like this will be one of the first ones that we go where we can catch 8 different species of fish.
2 different types of cutthroat,
Yeah.
rainbow, brown.
Largest flat top mountain in the world for those of you who don't know that. 50 plus miles, 200 plus lakes.
Plus all the feeder creeks if they're not blown out and doing all that. You know what I mean? So
we can go down warm water. There's within a short drive, there's bass, crappie, catfish. It's a different trip than we've ever done before. So everyone's going to have to bring, maybe double the gear this year, to take advantage of it. But it's a first. Yeah. Right?
Pack the belly boats and go and see what happens. So it'll be fun.
Yeah. I know from the first time, and obviously there's a lot of background, but the only way you can get better at a certain type of fishing is to do more of that certain type of fishing.
Yeah.
So fly fishing can still be incredibly frustrating at times for me as I'm learning new techniques, new strategies. It's easy to say I like small creeks, but small creeks bring big trees. And it can be incredibly frustrating at the same time. But that's the only way you learn and get better.
So let's take a step back to a question you prompted yesterday that we put the halt on.
Yeah.
And said, no, let's wait to talk about it on the podcast because it's a good idea. And that question is, what does each of us think Guys Fishing Weekend was before we actually went on?
I knew what it was for me. Mm-hmm. And what I was saying is the first person I called was Reed, because Reed was one guy I knew loved fishing, and I knew he would be a yes. Okay? And he was a yes.
Just the two of us.
Right. And then we called our other friend, Bake, who was getting into fly fishing, and he was also a yes. And in our conversations, it was said, well, all these guys will go. All these people will go. And I was wondering what you guys thought, you two specifically, what you thought when you got the call.
Before we do us, I would like to think what you thought it was before it.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning, it's not what it is today.
True. So I guess that's a tough question.
The tables have turned.
No. But so for me, I was in my life at the time, and I was doing some of the fun things that I always wanted to do. You know, I had a softball team, a men's softball team.
Dry humping weasels.
Well, then it was Oh Mama You Smell Bad. Was that the Dry Humping Weasels was the co-ed team?
Right.
So I got to give out a shout out to Oh Mama You Smell Bad. But
That was the original. I was on that team too.
Wow.
yeah. Well, no. At the time, the announcer had to say, "Now batting 4," and
Oh,
announce
Mama,
it.
you smell bad.
Oh Mama You Smell Bad, and then Dry Humping Weasels.
Yeah.
Right. They had to announce that,
was back
to the
when
crowd. And that was
Back when you could do that.
Yeah, exactly. Back when you could do that. And people weren't rushing up to stop you. But so I was doing that, but I felt like I'd gotten into a rut. And I needed, part of it was, I needed some adventure. I needed to get out of my suburban lifestyle and get out and enjoy what this great state has to offer. I needed to get out and enjoy nature. I felt like that was a big part that I was missing in my life. So it was the combination of the two. I needed to challenge myself and go on an adventure. But I'm not going to lie, I'm a chicken. So I needed other guys to go along with me. I wasn't the kind of guy who was just going to go on a solo backcountry trip and get eaten by wolves. I wanted other men to go with me. And it was always going to be other men. So, but that was it for me. That's what I wanted. I wanted to challenge myself, just like you challenged yourself with trying to run a marathon.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to challenge myself to get out and enjoy this stuff. And as you know, at the time, you know, you were living with me a lot of the time. So it wasn't easy to just say, I'm going to go pack up and move to the mountains for 6 months.
Right.
That would have been pretty selfish. So it was really just like, could we get a weekend and go out?
Didn't you read an article? And
I did read an article. Well, I did about guys who had done it on an annual basis. Yeah. But and the same thing. That's what I say. Coincidentally, I had friends who were saying, you know, my dad and I just went up to Alaska, or we just went on this, you know, expensive trip. I didn't have a ton of extra money at the time, and I knew that a lot of my friends, also didn't have that. So it really was to try and have that lodge type of experience on a budget. And it's always been, that is at the core. We want to be able to do things that are affordable. I don't ever want price to be a reason that a guy says, I can't do it. And
that was a big deal.
We'll make accommodations so that if a guy's having a tough time in life, meeting his bills, that he's still invited. We're going to figure out a way to make sure that person gets to go. Everybody in life has troubles. I've had troubles, but you don't want a guy to say, that's too expensive. And we've had some, over the years, we've had some cheapies too. Yeah. It's gotten more expensive, but we've had some cheapies. But that was the idea.
Yeah.
So.
And then when he called me, he was like, hey, I got this idea about doing a fishing trip. I was like, sure, I'm in. I just heard fishing trip. I'm like, I'm good. Yeah, I don't give a shit what else. Okay, cool. We'll just fish all day. And that's really what I envisioned us. We hang out and we fish all day long from dawn till dusk, you know, and there's been trips when you know, we've been casting flies in pitch black dark and feeling fish tug on it. And those days are, I think, past, because now not even I can go that long anymore on the river. And then we hang out at night, and that was it. And then we wake up the morning, we did, you know, and so when we first started, my vision was just fishing. Every day we got to fish, and that was enough to hang out with my buddies. And then with Joe, and his cooking and chefing, and then when we had guys and we started playing cards at night, that became a piece of it. And so it sort of morphed into that. But it was like from my first get-go when I start fishing. It was 3 days of fishing.
And then steamboat.
And I was it, yeah.
You guys had a lot of steamboats.
Yeah, we did do a bunch of steamboats. My folks had a place up in Steamboat, and so it was easy. Yeah.
I mean, the first day, you know, the first time it was the three of us. And so cards, you know, the vision was always that we'd be playing cards at night. But we just had 3 guys, so we did. I know we didn't play cards the first night or first year, and then I think as we started, once you get to that critical number, now we're playing cards, and but that was always the thing, because in my mind that's what you did at the lodge. You went out fishing till the sun came down. You came back. Someone had prepared you a meal, and then you broke out the cards and the drinks, and who didn't holler until you were full of that, and then up in the morning
Until Reed went back.
Well,
back then I didn't though. Back then I didn't go to bed.
back then he'd skip like 10:30, 10:45. So
Come on now.
So we really almost all night.
I've always been the sleepy guy that turns in early.
This time, actually.
It gets harder.
Now he's 8 o'clock. What's the blue plate, Joe? And then off to bed.
Yeah.
Was it anything more than fishing for you at the beginning? You had some introspection already in life. Was it anything more than that?
Absolutely. I was similar to Joe. I was going through a rocky patch too, and so it was a time to be able to hang out with the boys, and that was important. Like 3 days to drive in the car, seeing who can make bake puke first from the smells, and you know what I mean, like those kinds of things were. But those times, like, yeah, that was absolutely part of it, was being able to spend time with my buddies, because I didn't have much of that going on in my life at that point. And so that was an important piece to it for sure. Absolutely 100%. And fishing with the boys.
He was my, I mean, it's not like I went online, because we didn't have that back then, but it's not like I went online or put in a personal ad and say, I need a fishing buddy. We were buddies, and we'd work together. We were friends. That's why I say, I know he liked fishing. He was on the softball team, right? And so I knew him. I knew what he liked to do. I called him first because I knew he liked doing it. And I did think it would be something fun that we would do together. At the time, naively, I thought that we were the same caliber of fishermen.
Back then, we might have been.
Well, we did different, right? Yeah.
Even on the very first boat day. I was still doing the fish on my fly rod, because
boat days can be tough on a fly fishing on a boat.
Yeah,
in the middle.
It was good.
Yeah, here we go.
The fish happened to be about that big.
It has 65 feet of line to drop to the bottom. Dumped that nymph.
8-inch stalker.
Yeah, that was caught within like 12 feet of the dock.
Coming in.
On your way in. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I was driving the boat, so I couldn't say it. I didn't have the...
And back then, popping off fishing rights was what it was all about. We were young.
Yeah.
I let them...
Other long stories. So then we get together, right? And obviously, Ed, you knew about it. And almost from the very beginning, you said, I want to go on guys fishing. And I told you then that you couldn't go until you were 18 because we used curse words.
Occasionally.
It'd be a good
like, gosh darn it, and things like that. It can get pretty blue. Jumping Jehoshaphat is good. So what were you thinking about when you were a kid? And I always caution parents, never promise your child anything at a specific age, because they will remember it and hold you to it. Don't tell them you'll get them a pony when they're 14, because you'll be buying a horse at 14. What were you thinking about it?
When I got my pony at 14.
Yeah, exactly. So what were you thinking what guys fishing weekend was when you were a kid? And then when you got when you
got the call to the bigs.
Yeah.
The bigs.
What were you thinking?
I think what I thought it was just guys getting together and going on an adventure. Like I don't think I understood what it was really. I don't think the ancillary benefits are really the primary benefits of it. I don't think I understood. I think it took me even years into it at that age for me to even really know kind of the purpose of it. I just thought it was get together, have fun, drink beer, go fishing, play cards, steal other people's money, and then go home. Like that was kind of what it was to me in my head. And it took me a while to figure out. I had a decent childhood, so I didn't have a lot of rough patches that I was going through when I went on the first one. And over time, that became more evident to me. But at the beginning, it was just adventure, fishing, laughing, jokes, stuff like that. So that's
So
kind of
you're 36 now,
yep.
which means you've gone on 18 guys fishing weekends.
Yeah.
Technically.
I don't have perfect attendance either. So am I 18?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right.
But you have come from out of state multiple times.
Sure,
Like, kudos.
That counts as 2.
Kudos. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way I could have made that. I don't think I could have made that happen. You always did.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
Are you admitting there's no will?
Oh, there's Will and Robbie.
Um,
But no, that's admirable.
Yeah,
I was always impressed by that. That's
yeah,
amazing.
18 roughly.
I would like to come back to that, but I do remember Reed telling me that he worked with a guy who he thought would be perfect for the weekend. What would I think about adding a new person to the group? And I truthfully obviously can't remember what the makeup of the group was at that time. And I think there were 2 guys you had met, but you said, I think they'll both be great. One said no and missed out on probably the best opportunity of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And one said yes. And that guy is sitting here today, right?
Yeah.
What did you think?
When you heard Reed invite you to guys fishing?
Yep.
So we have to have some backstory. Reed and I kind of knew each other from being in the same school district. I admired him as a teacher, so it was like pretty chill. Kids dig him.
Yeah.
Like the more of the Reed that I didn't know, and I'm like thinking. So anybody who would like turn my entire office upside down as a joke when I came in,
Mm-hmm.
and how he got 8-foot tree in front of my planted tree in front of my door on the inside. No idea. And
Strategery.
put on Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders
Yeah.
screensaver without me knowing. Yeah, and I got a new truck, and I go out, and I'm all proud, and I'm driving up the road, and people are going, and I'm like, yeah, thinking they like my badass truck. I pull over to get a pizza, bring pizza out, and I see a pink license plate that says, I don't know, pretty and pink. So I'm like, this guy is the mega jokester. It's gotta be a blast, right? And I'm always honored, right? I like having a good time. So I'm thinking, it's going to be a good time. Surely. I'm an outgoing guy, but I was pretty reserved,
Yeah.
especially in the position I held.
Yeah.
And the shock factor when I first arrived was a little bit like, whoo! It was like initiation, man, into fraternity or something. And yeah, and then it's just been great. And similar to you, Eddie, so I came from the front for the fun. I love a good party, and I like people who are able to let the guard down a little bit. Serious, drab, boring people. Just
Sure.
this is not my crap. So anyway, yeah, and then you find out there's so much more to it.
Sure.
My rough patches are only on my knees and my elbows. So
That's also true.
yeah. No, I didn't really come here seeking something,
Right?
Or man, I need this
Right.
change in my life. I mean, yeah, I've had a pretty good life too, but now I realize that it's really about community, and that's what I appreciate about this new phase, this new chapter where Reed and Eddie, you guys are inviting the rest of the world to don't miss out on this opportunity. It's never too late. It's never too early to start something that can be this powerful, whether you need it or not. Community makes us whole. By nature, we're pack animals, I think.
Right.
Well, I think in some ways it's kind of one of those things that you don't really need it until you need it.
Yep.
Right.
So, there's a lot of times you come here and you're just here for the laughs. And then there's other times you're here for advice and you're the guy that needs to be lifted up. And I didn't realize that when I first started I was the guy that was a taker, just here for the laughs.
But there's nothing wrong with that.
No. And great memories, fun times, fun adventure. And then there's times when you are going through change and you're
We
like,
taught you how to fish.
Yeah.
you did.
That's true.
Well, initially, yeah.
I mean, that's yeah.
No, for sure.
Initially,
That was a big thing.
before Guys Fishing Weekend, you came up fishing to Steamboat, right?
Yeah.
And we would go out fishing, lake fishing,
Right.
So you learned some techniques of fishing.
Right.
You've just gotten way better the more times that you come out. And you're probably we're all still learning.
Right.
The same thing that worked today isn't going to work tomorrow.
Right.
What was your line yesterday?
No man steps in the same river twice.
Yeah. I mean, everything changes. I mean, it changes, right?
Right.
And something that worked yesterday doesn't work today. You always.
Isn't that true in life?
It is true. It is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I will tell you from the get-go, it had to be fun. There had to be fun in this. If there was no fun, no laughter, no brotherhood, it wouldn't have made any sense. It'd just be, yeah. I mean, you can get that in other parts of your life. It had to be fun. It has to be fun. We have to enjoy one another, and the other stuff builds from that. I think of all things, humor is the best way to break down barriers. But that's my opinion, right?
And I think too that there's a need, at least for me, there was a need to remove myself from everything that I normally do, from the rut, the thing that you get in those groups or whatever, my family, all those, and I love, obviously your family, you love them to death, but there's times when you need to remove yourself from that and not, and release yourself of the responsibilities of those things. And you need time from that so that you can recalibrate whatever. And that comes with this trip. This trip in a selfish way gives me, that unplugging of all of those things responsibility wise that I'm supposed to do as a dad, as a husband, and I cannot do those things for 3 days and just be here with fun dudes and just be dudes. And that's as much of it as anything else. And that sense of community, right? That we build outside of, our other commitments and communities and responsibility back home. And so, yeah, that's become a huge piece to it. And I think the humor and the fun and the meals and the camaraderie and the brotherhood, year after year, when that kept getting better and better and better, that became more and more important.
Right. And you can obviously see, and again, that someone new being placed into the environment oftentimes looks like a deer in the headlights. I mean, they're like, what is going on? Right. It does take time to build trust. Right. But I'm more than comfortable saying anything to read. Right. And I'm more, mostly comfortable, you don't want to embarrass yourself in front of your kids too much, but I'm mostly comfortable saying anything in front of my son, right? I'll always answer a direct question, always. So I'm not going to pussyfoot around it. You have to ask the right question sometimes, but I will always give you an honest answer to a direct question. So, I think that's important, but the trust builds up. And the more guys see that Reed and I are willing to share just about anything, and I'm not going to criticize him. It's something he might be going through in his life. I'm trying to help him as a friend. And so people are like, oh, it's okay to share what's going on in my life. And guys aren't just going to start laughing at me, right? I think that's a big part, but it does take time. Mm-hmm. The first time when you come up, I never expect to go like, yeah, here's everything that's going on, right, in my life. It's a gradual thing, but you understand that we're here to help. And it's not, and that's what I say, it wasn't designed to be a support group. It was designed initially to be fun. It's just developed into that. And then you realize these are people who care about you. They love you and they want the best thing for you. That's, so when I say love you, right, it's because I care about you. I want you to succeed. I want to help you succeed in any way that I can. And I know that it's not always, because it's never been easy for me, right? Some days are good, some days are not good. I get the support from you guys and the love back. So I'm going to give out what I get. That's really,
You give a lot of love, baby.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
But you deserve a lot of love.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
And it's cool to have something like, something adventurous like fishing, like a day out on the river, or you're on new water, or you're exploring a new area with other guys and you get those moments together at different times throughout the entire weekend. It happens out on the water. It happens in the car rides. It happens, around the dinner table. It happens, at cards. It's just all of these different opportunities that we create for each other to have those moments or those things that, where we're just shooting the shit. And sometimes it's serious, and sometimes we're laughing our asses off. Sometimes we're sitting in cactuses, whatever that might be, right? We have those moments.
There's Cactus Jacks and Cactus Ass.
You have cactus ass this weekend. You sure do.
Yeah.
But those are the things in being able to create multiple opportunities for those. That's what this is morphed into, and it's phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like that's the commitment piece to where we're all committed to doing it as much as we possibly can, year in and year out.
Well, and I think the commitment comes from the multiple day, right?
Right.
So some of those experiences could be built on a river or a poker night during a day experience, but it is the overnight, the staying with each other,
Yes.
the meals. That's that multiple opportunity, and I think there's it's just different,
right? And then you're sharing quarters with people, and you're sharing, yeah.
And sometimes thankfully,
like, holy shit, man, I slept in the bunk with you. You toss and turn like
snore,
a fucking monkey.
Snore.
And you snore like a fucking rhino.
Yeah. And Jesus Christ, quit farting. I mean, it is all, you fart in your sleep. I do not. And to your point, we can all go out fishing for a couple hours.
Yep.
Right? And that might not lead to anything. You start spending days and nights with
oh yeah,
it's just
you're seeing everybody in all of their worst and best moments.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, that guy is not a morning person. Yeah, that guy is an asshole at night.
Yeah.
And we accept each other, and I just think there's a significant difference between and I think a lot of people try to get together, but it is it's a big commitment. And it used to be, are we going to be able to get up Friday night? Right. Be able to, man, can we pull this off? Can we do this work to get the weekend? And then can we get back and shop and all that shit you got to do to prep for Monday? And then it's like, I think we value this enough.
Yeah.
How about a little bit of F Friday? Can we move this to Thursday?
Right.
What do you think? And then you two are like, maybe we could camp on Wednesday.
Wednesday night camping now?
I don't like my boss anyway.
Which is
and
good.
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, it's good.
And that's because you recognize that it's that extended time together. And sometimes this is a life experience. Like, we come with a life experiences, but these become a life experience. You might experience growth or something in this weekend that's like, I've had epiphanies this weekend. Mm-hmm. Like, thank you, fellas. Mm-hmm. I came as a taker.
No.
The emotional withdrawal. Like, I was just sucking it in, and I need it, but I hope, and I feel like I hope. Well, yeah, I hope. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not, but I'm hoping that you feel that I give the same. But I came as a taker, but I'm a better person, and I think you're happy to do it for me.
Well, I think that's part of the power of it all that it's become, is that there are weekends when I show up and I need that, right? And there are times when I show up and I'm ready to give that 100%. Yep. And so that's the beauty of it. And when you get the right guys with you that are like-minded in that realm, and I don't mean like we all believe the same things, like-minded in the realm of I'm open to this adventure with these dudes and growing and getting better as a person, a husband, a father, a brother, all of those hats. That's the commitment, and that's the like-mindedness that we share, so that when one of us does show up and it's obvious that dude needs us a little bit more than normal, let's feed that. And that's the incredible piece to it.
Yeah, willing to do, because I know
as long as we're doing enough of it out on the river, I'm good. No, okay, Rob. Yeah, I'm sure I'll give you let's go out. Yeah.
Rob, let's walk and talk.
Yeah.
Let's walk and talk.
I know you're struggling, but I could catch a fish right now.
Yeah. It'll cure your struggles more than anything. Watch this.
You know, I will say that catching a fish improves your mood. No matter what. But no, I appreciate and thank you for that, because I do think that there are pieces of it that have come together over time and grown over time. You know, we all have different experiences, different lives, and different perspectives. And you can ask a simple question and get many different answers that you can hopefully coalesce into one solid whole that makes sense for you. My one answer might not be the total answer for you, right? My bit of advice, but collectively it may help. I'm so unbelievably impressed with the three of you and what you're able to do. All of you offer tremendous talents, tremendous gifts, tremendous insights that as one person I don't always have. So each of you and the other guys who aren't here today, Dan, Tom, right? They offer the same. Like I say, it is a little bit of therapy on a budget,
Right?
Because the idea is that it's not going to be too expensive, right? And so you get a lot for a pretty insignificant amount of money, I think. So,
Absolutely.
I was Ed, as the youngest member, does it feel good to have a dad and four uncles?
Well,
It says confidently.
Can we just start as a kid to be fishing like a dad? Okay.
Whatever dad wants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it's awesome, especially in this modern age. It's really hard to get mentors, life mentors. There's career mentors, there's things like that. But back in the day, there were initiation rites into becoming a man and like people to show you along the way. I think you lose a lot of that in modern day culture.
Mm-hmm.
And so having this where you have people older than you, sometimes people at my same age level, and hopefully soon younger than me, to see all the different perspectives and get that mentorship from different levels is huge. And being showed the way or a way forward, having those role models is priceless. And that's what I get here, is people to aspire to be. I think that's crucial.
And there's value in having, for me, just working with you is there's value in understanding a younger perspective as well. Because I think as the older I get, it's simple to get into.
You're pretty crotchety.
This is my way. This is certainly when it comes to bedtime, I am. But
True, Dad.
but that helps keep me grounded and more open-minded, I think, as well.
I think just as men in general, though, we get so siloed in our ways, whether it's because we don't want to get vulnerable, we don't want to cry, we don't want to
Don't want to look weak.
We don't want to look weak. We don't want to ask for help. You just silo yourself. It's not that you don't want the mentorship, but it's just kind of the way it becomes. And this situation sort of forces you into having people observe your life, give you feedback if you ask for it. Nobody's forcing.
Right.
None of you guys are forcing advice onto me unless I ask for it. Solicited advice only, pretty much. And also just being able to observe and take in what I want to take in without even asking the question. Listening to the stories of others. It's huge to have that around my life. I don't think I would have thought of it being important. Definitely I think about it as when I was younger, just you always have people around, whether it's school or fraternity for me, sports teams, work. There's always people around. But as you get older, you get more siloed. And this is a consistent group that you can always come back to and see yourself in them, see yourself compared to where you were before, talking about stories in the past, laughing about the way you were to where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what.
That's what I get out of it.
Right. I could have used that in my 20s.
Yeah.
I could have used more mentorship through my 20s and the early 30s. Absolutely.
Yeah, well,
we could all probably admit that.
No,
would have been.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
It's a blessing to have you as a son. The quality of your character is good.
Wait, are you talking about Ed? Do you have
Rob. I'm talking about Rob. Rob, I adopted you.
Yes. Son. Right? But I think what you give back, your perspective, your ability with technology, so much of the stuff that you've been able to do, frankly, blows me away. And I am old school. I'm writing on a yellow pad with a pencil. That's how I write.
And abacus.
And I use napkins and smoke signals. I know, I get it. But I mean,
Carrier
it blows me
pigeons.
away what you see and kind of just the youthful energy that as we get, I mean, the amount of water you cover in a day crushes me. I mean, it is truly remarkable. I mean, there's a lot of things about you that you bring. And so if people are watching and this and listening to this, having, as you form your group to also involve a younger generation, I think is incredibly valuable. You'll get a lot out of it. They're not all just a different alien species.
That's right.
They
Learn from you every time, man.
Yeah. And obviously I'd wanted this thing to go on for well past my death, right? And so that's why I was hoping that all the young men in our families would like to fish and come along, and that
Oh, they're coming.
but
The Ganazers are coming.
helping them and being their mentor when they're 18, and now you're 36. I mean, you're 20 years older than they are.
Twice their age.
Yeah. At that point,
Get your abacus.
You're right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For the sense.
And that over time, then their kids. I thought that would be a cool legacy. But it's so amazing when we communicate, all of us. I don't think anybody's ever come, and maybe you correct me. I don't think anyone's ever come and said, "I need help."
No.
Right? I don't think anyone's ever come and said, "I'm screwed up." Right?
Well, maybe not directly.
Right.
But I do think we're not good at, just in general. Like, there's some friction there for, even if you are really struggling. Like, there's people that their life ends because they just don't have the courage to say, I need help. I think just in general, men suck at that.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
But I do think we all come here with something. I mean, not every year, but you do come here with something that you want an answer on.
Yeah.
Something's troubling you. Something's
Right.
you're struggling with.
And it is hard to.
Or you're feeling broken from something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're navigating something. It's like there is getting that out. I do think you get that out there.
Even now, I don't think that when you have an issue, we don't have like a round table. Like, here's what's bugging me today. We just end up talking.
Yeah.
And then you say, oh, what do you guys think about this? Right? Or you're taking a break from fishing with a guy and you say, what do you think? It comes naturally. It comes over time too. It's not, we don't have, here's our prayer circle followed by our pitch circle, followed by our trouble circle. That's not how it's natural. Men just talking about their lives.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's natural, right? I don't think in society it's a this or that. It's not this and that, right? Like
right.
You can't have strength.
That's fair.
And getting a little kumbaya circle with your buddies. It's one or the other. But you can heal. You can be vulnerable. You can be. That's part of being a man as well, from our viewpoint. And I can also be incredibly strength. As a matter of fact, it's part of my strength as a man that I can admit my vulnerabilities and be stronger from it because I have a support structure. And I have people who I know will guide me in a way that, from their experience, and it's coming from a place of love and caring and like being challenged as well. If one of you see me really going off the rails, you're going to say, dude, I got to pull on the reins. I am not going to let you do that. As your friend, I can't let you be there. And I'm going to pull back on you because I love you. Mm-hmm. And when it's better on the other side, I'll be there as well. But I think there's this.
Well, and I think you also, it's not just this 3-day, 4-day weekend. And that's it. Like, and then I'll see you in 361 more days. And we'll talk about that then. I think when you have these experiences, one, you are sitting in a meeting and you start laughing about a joke about Rob sitting in a cactus this weekend. And you start thinking about him again. That happens throughout the year, but you have these conversations and then you're like, oh, I wonder what Reed's dealing with. We talked about that thing on the river. I wonder how he's doing with that. Like, maybe I'll check in with him. And these things happen more regularly where you are checking in. These are happening throughout the year. It's ongoing.
Yeah.
And so I think it's not just this one weekend. It's constantly checking in, constantly getting feedback and addressing things.
This is like the gateway.
Yeah.
to grandiose, you know what I mean? That constant stuff.
I don't even, because you said something interesting to me, Reed, but I wouldn't even necessarily say it's constant. You have somebody you can rely on that I could call you up and say, hey, I know it's not guys fishing weekend, but maybe you want to go fishing. Maybe there's something that's on your mind that you want to talk about. But you said something to me that I really did. Checking in with somebody, sending them a note, just saying I'm thinking about you. You've been in my thoughts, or how's life going? I think that can be incredibly powerful for all people. But we don't always do it with men because we assume that the men in our life, for the most part, are doing fine. Right.
They're sucking it up.
Yeah.
Right.
They're taking care of it. Right. They're taking care of it. And I'm not saying because it's not both genders fishing weekend. I can't speak to the issues that women are going through, but I do know that in certain cases, some of the men in our life could use just a thoughtful gesture, and that might make an incredible, powerful difference in their life.
Right.
And I think we all neglect that part. I do think that we could do a better job with friends that we have lost contact with, but just to send something out.
Well, you go, like you say, you go through life siloing and get more and more siloed, and you think you're walking the life alone. And to have somebody just reach in and be like, hey, man, you're struggling with that thing with
whatever
your
it is.
Yeah, your wife, your kid, work. Just want to check in, see if there's any update. Like just that is huge to know. Like somebody sees me.
Yep.
I'm not crazy, or maybe I am crazy, but I'm not doing this alone, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy alone.
Yeah. No, I know you talked a little bit about it earlier on one other podcast that it really did hit home that we do have people in our life that we could just say, send them a quick note.
Changes lives. Absolutely.
Yeah, because, there does tend to be a little bit of loneliness out there, and it can be pretty tough carrying that burden.
Yep.
And nobody should go through life feeling that they're alone.
Oh, hell yeah.
Really, I mean, there's, and you need people.
This helps. What
It
we
does.
have here.
Yeah.
It's been life changing. When you say it changed lives, like you all have definitely changed my life, and it's that right.
Yeah.
After 20, like unbelievably.
I'm still hoping. You gotta say it.
I mean,
You're still waiting.
Yeah.
You're still waiting.
I want you to notice that no one said you changed my life.
It's all
for the
downhill
better.
after 20. Get to 20 years is all.
I noticed you looked at them.
Yeah. We don't see you.
You don't see me.
We don't see you.
Well, I'm going to tell you all, like, when I come away from these weekends always with a better perspective. And, like, I'm excited to grab onto the next adventure. I'm excited for the next one because it's great, but it also inspires me to do something like, man, I'm going to take that tidbit. Like, I can't believe Reed does that or Joe does that. Like, the comments you just made, like, would make me go, we'll get them some sticky notes.
Yeah.
We'll slap that on a couple people's. Let them know you care. And then those little pieces. So I take a huge chunk. I'm a stealer.
Right.
Like this weekend.
Well, you're actually
You
stealing,
snag it.
and
you go and it makes me better. And I hope that I come back and do something that somebody else is like, they can do a withdrawal. Like, and I'm depositing and
We hope. Yeah, we hope you.
but that's the thing. I gave a bunch of props earlier. I mean, I do. You are high energy, high passion, high focus. Sometimes, right? And so when you're here in the group, it's infectious, right? The whole energy level picks up. Now we start talking weird, doing sound effects and music, right? It's crazy.
All of a sudden, we're doing a big dance.
Right? You can't help it. It's
truck on a dirt road. That was good.
yeah. I think it was going with the train tracks. And you bring that, and I mean, just your incredible handiwork, the things you have built, designed, done, and you're not done yet, right? And that's I come away truly inspired by your life, and in a good way, that I still have plenty more to learn, right? So that's what, right. I mean, the value you bring to this group from that perspective, like I say, none of us know how to do everything. And you know, talking about building a fence, cutting some wood, doing these things, you can do it. We live a different life, but you can learn how to do certain things and add them to your life. You can get new hobbies, different things. You amaze me, honestly.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
I think it'd be good to hear one of your favorite, since Rob has shared on a previous episode one of his favorite Guys Fishing Week memories. I think to close this out, we should hear one of your favorite Guys Fishing Week memories. Because you've been around for a long time, since the invention of the calculator.
28? Is this going to be our 28th year?
Last year was 28. This will be 29.
This will be 29 years.
you know, when you ask, and every year is different, and every year there's a new phrase. See, Rob P.O. came out this year that will make me laugh, and I'll think about over time. And Tom, who's not here, has oftentimes has come up with the very funny phrases. And I'd love to share all those on this cast. But if I can tell you that one of my all-time favorite guys fishing memories was one of our big boat days when we had everyone together on Grand Lake, and we had rented a pontoon boat, and we're going to go out for the whole day. And Jeff Rickard had said, "I'll bring the beer for that day." And I don't know why this one I would say favorite, but every year has a different one. And that's the one that popped into my head because it always makes me laugh. And Jeff is not a big drinker. And he cleared out his refrigerator of all the old beer that he had there. And he brought it in a trash bag. And tossed it onto the boat. Here's all the beer, right? We threw it in the coolers to cool it off. They've been sitting in a trash bag for I don't know how long.
Skunky.
Yeah. And the beer, in certain cases, was ancient, right? And there's nothing worse than bad beer. And that's what we had to drink on that whole boat. It just cracked me up. And
all of them just sucked.
Was it one of these? Can I get a beer?
Jeff wasn't drinking them, so he even didn't know. And, back in the earliest days, I mean, we'd calculate the beer and we'd bring in up cases and cases of beer. And so,
drink a lot.
Jeff's like, I'm gonna bring up beer, and you're thinking like, oh, we saved some money, we don't have to get that beers for that day, and we just fill up the cooler, and they were all horrible, and Bake and I were just slamming these crappy ass beers on the boat because that's all we had, and they were. And then you're looking at the bottom like, this thing's 3 years old. Oh, okay. I just gutting it the whole time, but that's that always makes me laugh. So anyway,
that's great.
Skunky beer boat day.
Yep. Skunky beer boat day. Yep.
Yeah, I know you wanted like the time I fell in.
That's not my favorite. That hurts to see me fall. Hurts me to see.
That was not my favorite day either.
Oh, okay, all right. Then,
although the one up on the Elk River,
yeah, I was going to say,
rolled down the side of the
all right.
Me and Babe were like, we were like crying.
I will say, because that it is very funny. So, like I say, I learned how to fish a certain way, and then Rita asked me, "Do you know how to fly fish?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." But I fly fish all the time, and it was fly and bowl, right? And then we get out here and we're fly fishing, and I'm, what are you doing? I do not recognize this. Oh, that's very fascinating. So you have to go out then and get all of your new gear, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a thrifty guy at heart, and so let's just say I end up, in retrospect, didn't end up spending quite as much money as I should have on my waders, and so I got a pair of old waders with old felt on the bottom, the rubber boots with I think they were World War II vintage felt, and it didn't matter what I did. Every step I fell probably that day 100 times. I fell standing up without taking a step. I just slipped right there, fell down on the creek side, and it was a miserable day. And I really did. I thought, man, I just don't know what I'm doing in the water. I keep falling. You know, I got these waders. Anyway, I'm just but at a certain point in time, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I just keep falling and getting wet, and it's not fun. And the guys are laughing, and so I'm like, I'm going back to the truck, and I'm walking up the hill, and somebody hollers at me, and I turn, and I fall down the hill like 50 feet, just like going down the hill, right into the water, and it was just like, oh, I'm telling you,
We're here to support you.
yeah.
Rolled it. Fucking landed
In the water, and I'm telling you, I was like 5 feet from the car, and I rolled down, and all the rocks just like right back down in the bottom. Miserable day. So, and it was that then I had to finally figure out what was going on. I wouldn't say that was my favorite memory, but I went to get the backstory. It was yeah, I got new waders after that.
So you've been following since the start.
Oh yeah, I mean.
Pretty much every trip though, he was in at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I felt
That one was
day
great.
2 this trip, but just once.
And it wasn't like, it was amazing because it wasn't like he was like rolling super fast. It was just like you saw, it was almost like it unfolded in slow motion. It just go down. It was just like,
Like, I was trying to stop, like they do on, they just say, let it go. I was like, no, I'm trying to stop.
Customer's like, motherfucker,
Oh, man.
is that on there?
I'm telling you, I've had some adventures.
Well, thank you for the laughs
yes.
over all the years.
No, thank you.
And you always take it well.
Well,
Like a champ.
Yeah.
Like a champ.
like I said, you don't get better if you don't do it.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I love you guys.
I love you
Love you
guys.
guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Love you, dudes.
Super, super blessed.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely.
Also want to give a thanks and shout out to Silver Trout Lodge for hosting us this weekend, giving us an opportunity to enjoy these great haunts of Buena Vista, Salida, Nathrop, the Arkansas River.
Right on.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you can find Silver Trout Lodge on Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. So give them a shout. It's a great place if you're thinking about an adventure up near in this area.
You'll also be able to find them on our website. We'll put
post,
links and
we'll
everything.
tag them and
So,
post them on the website. So
awesome.
Tight lines.
Tight lines.
awesome.
That's all for today's episode. Thanks for listening. Make sure to visit our website, guysfishingweekend.com, to check out the GFW merch, sign up for our newsletter, and learn how to get involved with the community. We appreciate you spending even a little bit of your week with us and are glad to have you along on the journey. Stay legendary and happy fishing.